Hey guys, welcome back to the Meat Cutting Academy. My name is Brian, and in today's video we're going to be cutting up a beef eye round. This eye round I got over at the US Chef's Food Store was $4.39 a pound, so it's an okay price. The total on that was $28.45. It seemed like a pretty decent deal. So the weight on this is about 6.5 pounds. So it's not the biggest, not the smallest, but decent sized. So this isn't my favorite cut of meat in the world, and this is actually going to be probably a pretty short video. This is like the easiest cut of meat you can, there's really nothing to this thing. So anyway, let's get into the video. Got to get the cutting glove on. Alright, cutting glove, always really important. Make sure to wear something to protect your hands while you're cutting meat pretty much at all times. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. On the eye round right here, you have a fat cap right here. And on this side right here, on these corners, you have what's connected to the rest of the round, top round and the bottom round. And you've got a bone running right through. So as you can see, there's really not a lot to trim off on this. You have a little bit of this nasty connective tissue right here. It's kind of blood and silver skin mix. There's really not a lot to take off on this. Just anything kind of nasty you wouldn't want to eat. I mean, any of this is really edible, but I wouldn't want to eat that nasty kind of boogery stuff myself. So set that aside. And it's really up to you whether you want to trim off any of this fat. Personally, I like to keep it on here because this is such a lean cut. It's going to add some good flavors to your cut of meat, so I would not cut the fat off. So next thing you want to do is take your bigger knife. You can accomplish this with a small knife, but I wouldn't. Pick which end you want for a roast. Right now we're going to start with the point end right here. We're just going to cut a small roast out of this. So here's our roast. It's a really small one. It's probably about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds, and you might not be able to pick this up on the camera, but there's a little shimmer. It's like an oil slick. If you've ever looked on the ground after a rainy day and you can kind of see like a little shimmer, well, it's got that same effect on this cut of meat, and it's really unique to this cut. This one and ball tip, they both have that. It's like a membrane inside that gives it that kind of a shimmery look. Anyway, here's our eye around roast. And next cuts we're going to do are the eye around steaks. So I'm going to start out with a couple larger cuts, about 3/4 to 1 inch. It's more like a 1/2 inch. Okay, I'll start off with 4 of them. And honestly, that's actually pretty good thickness. You could do maybe a 1/2 inch steaks for like breakfast steaks. Something you can cook up really quick. Okay, I'll do 4 of those. Just like that. Those are really nice breakfast steaks. And with the rest of this, you can turn this into stir fry or fajita meat or stew meat. But let's just turn this into fajita meat. So what you want to do is cut it really thin like that. You don't want it any thicker than that. Gonna cut it all the way down. And you can also do jerky out of this. Actually, that's a little bit thick for jerky. That might not be too bad though. That thickness right there, it's about what you want. Maybe a little bit thinner, I think. Let me see if I can cut that. Yeah, there we go, about that. And if you're making jerky, I would partially freeze this, not solid, but just enough to really firm it up. And if you have a meat slicer, it makes it really go through that meat slicer really well and give you really like uniform cuts. So that's what I would do personally. And as you can see, it's really a lean cut of meat. Perfect for jerky. There's really not a lot of fat in there to really worry about. Okay, and this last little bit. Now from here, hopefully you can see that on camera there. Okay, yep. Move some of this out of the way. So what you could do is stick these pieces together to make it quicker. This goes on the bottom, of course. There we go. If you're making stir fry or fajita meat, this is a little bit, I mean you can use it for both, but slice it really thin. Nothing worse than having really thick pieces of meat for fajita. That's like the perfect size in my opinion right there. That's how I do it at work. I'm going to do up a little bit more. It's really thin slices. I'll probably do all. There we go. It's about enough for me and my wife. My kids are so picky they wouldn't eat this stuff anyway. So, yeah, that's a pretty decent amount for several people. So I'm going to stick with that right there. And a lot of these, like about that thickness, that's generally what I run my cube steaks at. A little bit thicker. So the thicker ones I usually run through our mechanical tenderizer. And I don't have that at home, so I use a handheld tenderizer right here. So I'm going to show you how that's done. Not with this one, but this thinner guy here. So you can either use the really big end right here or the medium. I wouldn't really use the mallet part for cube steaks, obviously, but really, it's all that takes. You could go for a little bit longer on that. Let's try this small one here. That's where it's at, that small one. There we go. I don't think it really needs any more than that, so that should be perfect for cube steaks. Alright guys, that was the quickest tutorial I have ever done on a piece of meat. That's kind of why I was avoiding this. Anyway, we have our fajita and stir fry meat right here. We have our thin cut eye around steaks here. We've got our medium cut eye around steaks, 3/4 to 1 inch. We've got our cube steak that you can make out of these thin cuts using this mallet right here. You can pretty much find this at any cooking store. And we have our eye around roast. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you did, please smash that like button. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you thought. If you have any questions about this particular cut of meat that I haven't answered, let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next video.